somebody and you're a parent, and you did it by some negligent act that wasn't, meant to kill them. And so I think that she'll get convicted of aggravated manslaughter without even having to blink an eye. There's no doubt about it, because the jury's either going to say, yes, it was an intentional act, or no, I think it was an accident and went out of control. And even if they find it's an accident, the question is, did Casey have a duty to try to act? And there's no doubt that it says one failure to act, say failure to call 911, that's neglected. If that failure to call 911 results in her death, well, you're guilty of the crime of aggravated manslaughter of a child. So that's what I've always thought happened. I still kind of think that happened, even though Baez is screwing it up. And I think she will get convicted of that, and I think that's what she should have been convicted of. I think Judge Perry will max her out at 30 years, plus give her all a year on each of the misdemeanors. But now I don't know. The defense is just so it's so evil. That's the only way I can put it. That I could see this jury completely despising Casey and believing that she intentionally wanted to kill her daughter.
Wow. Well, thanks, Richard. That's been good speaking.
Thank you very much.
Can I have one follow-up? Just one follow-up. It's just so if she was sedating the kid, and I think there's been some discussion on the forums, some people are viewing that would be aggravated child abuse and then open up a first-degree murder charge. I take it you're of the opinion that, no, that's aggravated neglect and not aggravated child abuse.
My personal opinion is that's aggravated neglect, but a jury could easily find aggravated child abuse. Usually when you have aggravated child abuse, you're trying to maliciously hurt your child, okay? That's in the aggravated child abuse. It's generally there has to be some maliciousness, like an intentional. In my personal opinion, again, the law could go either way. I mean, a jury can decide whatever they want to decide. There's no doubt about it. But my personal opinion is that if a mother was trying to basically sedate her daughter, not to hurt her, but just to make her sleep long so she could go party, that would be aggravated child neglect, because you're not trying to purposely hurt your child, just trying to sedate her so that you can go out. And the fact that she's going out, I'm not agreeing with, but that's why I've always thought it was an aggravated child neglect. But do not get me wrong. Yes, a jury could say, no, that's aggravated child abuse. But if I was a juror, that's the way I think I would be interpreting her actions if the defense was presented to me properly. But that scenario is not being presented by the defense, and therefore I don't think the jury will lean my way. I think the jury will lean towards she's an evil woman, and I'll leave it at that.
Well, perfect, Richard. Just one last thing. Thanks for that. And if I'm ever in Florida and get into trouble, I'll be giving you a call, so you've got a new client if that ever happens.
Well, I appreciate it.
Well, thanks for the time, Richard. Cheers.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Oh, what a wonderful surprise. He's a great, great poster, as they all are on Web Sleuths. Richard, I agree. I think everybody, if we're ever in Florida and we get in trouble, we're calling you no matter what time of day or night it is. Okay, we have another caller, and let's go to area code 208. Area code 208, hello.
Hello, Tricia. This is not area code 208. It's area code 850. And
I'm sorry. How are you doing, Daisy?
I'm doing very well. This is a fabulous show. Thank you to you and Kimster and Mr. Hornsby for doing this show.
Thank you. What's your question, my dear?
Hi, Daisy. My question is, because I've been following this case closely, have watched almost all of the trial, not every bit. But, Mr. Hornsby, what happened with Tony Lazzaro's testimony on Friday?
What do you mean?
When he testified when the jury was not present.
That's called a proffer, and it's what Jose Baez should probably have to do with any time he's going to call a witness that's supposedly going to support the claims that he made in opening statement. A proffer is where basically the judge hears the evidence outside of the presence of the jury and decides whether or not it's actually admissible under the rules of evidence. Judge Perry found that it was not admissible, that it was hearsay, because it was based upon what Casey supposedly told him about Lee, and so he excluded it. And that's the way, and I agree with Judge Perry 100%. If anybody's going to testify to, that Lee tried to feel her up at some point, it has to be her. It shouldn't be some other person. Does that answer your question?
I'm sorry, and you're breaking up, so I can't totally hear you, and the feedback is not so good either.
No, if feedback just came back all of a sudden.
Is this testimony going to be allowed to be given to the jury?
No, Judge Perry said it was not going to be allowed. He said that it's hearsay because it's basically it's a statement by Casey Anthony being offered by another person to prove that, in fact, Lee molested her or copped a feel, if you will. And the only person that should be allowed to testify to that would either be Lee Anthony admitting that he did that on cross-examination, or Casey Anthony testifying to that when she's called as a witness by the defense.
So if either of those two things happened, would Tony's testimony be allowed in?
No, because it would be irrelevant. The fact that Casey told not Lee, but Mr. Lazaro that doesn't make it any more true or not true. It just shows that she said it at some later date. It's up to a jury to decide whether or not she did it based upon other evidence. And just the fact you told somebody about it, years after the fact doesn't make it true even then, or it doesn't make it true when you're testifying. So the answer is no. Lazaro will not be allowed to testify about it.
Thank you, Daisy. Thank you so much. You know what?
Thank you.
We have 2 more callers, and we don't have time. I am so sorry. And next week we'll get rid of this feedback, I promise. But I do want to mention one thing. We have a member, her name is Cuppy, Cuppy 199. Cuppy wrote a great post on the Casey and Family Psychological Profile thread. It's post number 11. So go check that out. And Mr. Hornsby, thank you so much. Tell us the address of your blog, and I would encourage everybody to check this blog every day. It is well worth it. What's the address?
Just visit my website at richardhornsby.com and then click on the blog at the bottom.
Thank you so much. You've been a wonderful guest, and I hope you'll come back again real soon, will you?
No problem. Absolutely.
Thank you. Kimster, we hardly got to talk to you. We're going to wrap it up with you, my dear. What would you like to say to the Web Sleuth members and the posters out there as the administrator extraordinaire?
Well, it has been a very busy week, and everybody has been very informative. We appreciate the participation. We have met a lot of new members this week, and I want to thank you all for joining. We're enjoying your posts, and I noticed today that a new member mentioned that they loved Web Sleuths because when they come in, everyone treats them like they've been there forever, and that just warmed my heart. And I'm really glad that we are getting more interest on Web Sleuths. And I do hope that even once the trial's over, that everybody will stick around. There's a lot of other cases to review, and there's an unidentified forum where you can hopefully join someone with their loved one that is gone, and they can find out where their missing loved one is. And that's about it that I can think of off the top of my head, Tricia.
Well, Kimster, that is perfect. And I would like to reiterate that we have so many other forums on Web Sleuth that we need your help with. You can actually make a big difference in these forums. There are so many family members whose loved ones are missing, and they just need a little bit of encouragement, even just a post to say, hey, I care. I can't tell you how many times I've gotten a message from somebody saying, I Googled my daughter's name and I found your website. I just want to thank you for caring about my daughter. I didn't think anybody cared anymore. You can really make a difference on Web Sleuth by just posting here and there, and especially on the cold cases and the unidentified forums. That's where we need you the most. So after the Anthony trial, head over to those forums and just check in. You'll find out that you will love it and you will make a difference. It is Web Sleuth Radio, true crime, current events. We always discuss it with common sense. And we'll be back next week. No echo, hopefully. Take care, everybody. Be safe, and we'll see you on the forum. Bye-bye.
You're listening to Web Sleuths Radio with Tricia Griffith, right here on LA Talk Radio.